She deserves it more, honey, Mom remarked, her gaze fixed on the meticulously arranged stack of gourmet cupcakes on the tiered display stand. Emily has always shown greater dedication to her studies. You, on the other hand, have always pursued different passions. The casual dismissal cut deeper than a physical blow. I found myself in my parents' kitchen, the frame of my medical school diploma gleaming with recent pride, grappling with the weight of her words. Mom, we both graduated with honors. Our GPAs were identical. My voice remained calm, yet my hands betrayed me with a subtle tremor. I can't fathom why you and Dad chose to settle all of Emily's loans while leaving mine untouched. Claire, from my mother's side, finally glanced up at me, her face wearing that all too familiar look of mild disappointment. Your sister lacks the advantage of a wealthy mentor like Dr. Fleming, who is invested in her future. You've consistently enjoyed privileges that Emily has not. A chuckle nearly escaped me. Dr. Eleanor Blake served as my research advisor, a role I secured through relentless 80-hour weeks in the lab, while Emily was off skiing in Aspen with our parents. The advantage lay in my relentless toil, while my twin sister basked in the steadfast emotional and financial backing of our parents. Was I to be punished for seeking out my own paths to mentorship? I inquired, striving to mask the pain in my voice. Just then, my father entered, draping an arm around my mother's shoulders. Claire, there's no punishment here. We're simply being realistic. Your sister requires more assistance than you at this moment. You've consistently demonstrated a certain ingenuity. Ingenuity. That's the term they employ to rationalize their absence from my undergraduate research presentations, all while jetting across the country for Emily's volleyball tournaments. Ingenious. They justified why Emily received a new car for her 21st birthday, while I was given a gas station gift card. Tomorrow marked Emily's celebration of being debt-free. It was, naturally, my parents' notion. They had summoned extended family, her friends, and even a few of our former professors. The invitations proclaimed a celebration of Emily's achievement, as though graduating medical school without debt had been her triumph rather than a reflection of our parents' financial choices. I need to head out, I said, finally gathering my bag. I have an early shift at the hospital tomorrow. Will you still make it to Emily's party? Mom asked, a note of concern finally entering her voice. It wasn't about me, but rather the potential impact of my absence on my sister's momentous occasion. I had made a promise to be there, even though the mere thought of it churned my stomach. As I made my way to my car, my phone vibrated with a message from Dr. Fleming. I must speak with you urgently regarding the Patterson Fellowship. There's significant news to discuss. I found myself staring at the screen, a chilling realization washing over me. The favoritism displayed by my parents transcended mere unfairness. It loomed on the brink of public humiliation, and I found myself powerless to halt the impending storm. From the very moment we entered this world, my twin sister Emily and I embarked on remarkably different journeys. I was the first to make my entrance, with her arriving just 6 minutes behind me. Family stories tell of my quiet, observant nature, contrasting sharply with Emily, who burst onto the scene with robust, healthy cries. Perhaps this initial difference laid the groundwork for what was to come. Growing up in Cleveland, Emily emerged as the outgoing twin, effortlessly making friends and shining in sports. I was more reserved, immersed in the world of books, dedicating countless hours to our neighborhood library, absorbing knowledge on subjects ranging from astronomy to zoology. Our parents were present at every single one of Emily's soccer matches and dance performances. My triumphs at the science fair received little more than a brief acknowledgement, a simple "good job, Claire," accompanied by a gentle pat on the head. By the time high school arrived, the pattern was unmistakably set. When we both declared our aspirations to enter the field of medicine, our parents appeared overjoyed, particularly for Emily. In my case, however, there were anxious discussions regarding the demands of the workload and my ability to cope with the ensuing pressure. Medical school isn't merely a test of intellect, Claire, my father had cautioned. It demands unwavering determination and resilience. Emily has consistently challenged herself to go further. The irony was almost unbearable. During my time at Ohio State, I upheld a flawless GPA while juggling a part-time job to manage my expenses. In contrast, Emily grappled with organic chemistry and physics, necessitating costly tutors that our parents generously supplied. When the time came for her to retake the MCAT, they invested in an exclusive prep course for her. In contrast, when I achieved a score in the 98th percentile on my first attempt, they merely nodded and remarked, "That's nice, dear." Yet, through it all, I never harbored any resentment toward Emily. She was my sister, my twin, and my love for her ran deep. The favoritism of our parents was not her doing, she merely reaped the rewards of it. At times, I sensed a hint of discomfort in her regarding their blatant preference, though she never voiced it outright. We both received acceptance into the same medical school in Michigan, embarking on a shared journey for 4 years. Together, we navigated the challenges of demanding rotations, offering support and celebrating each milestone. I had hoped that at last, our parents would recognize our accomplishments as equal. Yet, they discovered fresh avenues to highlight Emily's successes while diminishing my own. Upon being chosen to present my research at a national conference, it was quite the coincidence that Emily was awarded for her community service that very same weekend. Can you guess which event our parents chose to attend? However, the tide turned in our final year when Dr. Eleanor Blake, a distinguished neurosurgeon, recognized the significance of my work on pediatric traumatic brain injuries. With her guidance, I truly thrived. For the first time, I encountered someone who acknowledged my potential, who encouraged me to thrive not in spite of my personality, but because of it. "You have a gift for research, Claire," Dr. Fleming once told me. "You perceive patterns that others overlook. Such insight is beyond the realm of instruction." If only my parents could perceive me as she does. On the morning preceding Emily's celebration, I found myself in Dr. Fleming's office. She was an impressive woman in her 60s, her silver hair framing a face marked by penetrating blue eyes that seemed to observe everything. The walls of her office were adorned with awards, published papers, and photographs alongside medical luminaries from across the globe. "Claire, sit down," she said, motioning to the chair opposite her desk. "Incredible news has arrived, sending my heart into a frenzy." For weeks, I had been on edge, anticipating the outcome of my application for the Patterson Fellowship at Johns Hopkins, the pinnacle of neurosurgical research opportunities in the nation. Only a single graduating medical student across the nation would be honored with it. "The committee has reached their verdict on the Patterson Fellowship," Dr. Fleming announced, her demeanor meticulously composed. I found myself holding my breath. "They've chosen you," she declared, her face lighting up with a wide smile. "Congratulations, Dr. Claire Collins. You're headed to Baltimore." Joy, disbelief, and validation surged through me in powerful waves. The Patterson Fellowship, the crowning achievement for any neuroresearcher. It was mine. I find myself at a loss for words, I stammered. "You truly deserve this, Doctor," Fleming asserted with conviction. "Your pioneering research on neurovascular regeneration following traumatic injury has been nothing short of revolutionary. The committee expressed notable admiration for your dual approach that intertwines surgical innovation with pharmacological intervention. The fellowship offered a substantial stipend, a housing allowance, and, most crucially, total loan forgiveness. I would emerge debt-free, akin to Emily, yet achieved through my own merit rather than any parental bias. There's more, Doctor," Fleming continued, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I've received an invitation to Emily's celebration tonight. Your parents graciously extended an invitation to the faculty, unaware of our mentorship. I wish to share the news of the fellowship there, if that sits well with you." My heart sank. "I'm uncertain, Dr. Fleming, tonight is meant for Emily, and my parents could interpret my presence as an attempt to overshadow her." Dr. Fleming's expression shifted, revealing a hint of concern. "Claire, I have been watching your family interactions for the past 2 years. I've encountered your parents at various hospital events, and I've listened to the way they talk about you and your sister. I grasp your reluctance, yet there are moments when public acknowledgement is essential for true recognition." She was indeed correct in that regard. If my parents were to learn about the fellowship in private, they would undoubtedly seek to downplay it or chalk it up to mere fortune instead of recognizing it as a result of hard work. I nodded slowly in response. "Go ahead and make the announcement." As I exited her office, my phone vibrated with a message from Emily. "Mom is really going all out for tonight. It's quite mortifying. I couldn't help but wish she had invested this level of energy into celebrating our joint graduation. Will you be there? My heart raced as I read the message, a wave of confusion washing over me. It marked the first instance of Emily recognizing the disparity in our parents' treatment. Before I could gather my thoughts, another message arrived, this time from my mother. Remember to dress business casual for tonight, and please, allow your sister to have her moment. This means a lot to her. The disparity between the two messages struck me with a force I hadn't anticipated. It made me question my long-held perceptions of Emily, suggesting that tonight might unearth the truths my parents had skillfully sidestepped for the past 26 years. The celebration of Emily's newfound financial freedom was set to unfold at a chic restaurant nestled in downtown Detroit. My parents had secured the entire rooftop terrace, a lavish choice that must have set them back a pretty penny. As I emerged from the elevator, a grand banner caught my eye, proclaiming, "Congratulations, Dr. Emily," without a hint that there were, indeed, two Dr. Collins in the family now. I smoothed the fabric of my navy blue dress, inhaling deeply. Tonight belonged to Emily, no matter what Dr. Fleming intended to reveal. I refused to allow years of bitterness to tarnish the bond one shared with my twin, Claire. Emily noticed me right away, leaving a cluster of relatives to hurry over. She appeared breathtaking in a silver cocktail dress, her blonde hair, just like mine in hue, styled in a chic bob, while I wore mine long and impeccably arranged. "Thank God you're here. Aunt Marie has inquired 5 times about my relationship status." I chuckled, masking my anxiety. "What did you say to her?" "That I'm devoted to my career, but if she happens to know any single neurosurgeons, I'm open for applications." Emily intertwined her arm with mine. "Honestly, this is absurd. Mom has invited nearly everyone from the medical school. Dean Harris has arrived." I surveyed the bustling terrace and, sure enough, caught sight of the dean engaged in conversation with our father. Impressive, they truly pulled out all the stops. It's utterly embarrassing. Emily spoke in a hushed tone. "And why is it just for me? We both graduated. We both toiled tirelessly." The knot in my stomach began to ease just a bit. Perhaps Emily possessed a deeper awareness than I had previously acknowledged. "Claire." "Emily." Our mother emerged, champagne in hand. "Emily, the Hendersons have just arrived. You recall Thomas Henderson, the chief of surgery at Cleveland Memorial? You ought to come over and greet him." She grasped Emily's arm, deftly pulling us apart, then cast a look back at me. "Claire, could you see if the caterers have set up the gluten-free options? Your cousin Samantha is being a bit challenging about her diet once more." In an instant, I found myself confined to the realm of catering management, while Emily basked in the spotlight before the hospital administrators. Some things remained constant. I was guiding the waitstaff to their designated tables when Dr. Fleming made his entrance. She exuded elegance in a crimson pantsuit, effortlessly commanding attention. "Claire," she said warmly, embracing me. "Are you ready for our announcement?" "I'm not sure," I admitted. "The timing feels intricate." Dr. Fleming scanned the gathering, absorbing the banner, the expertly adorned cake bearing only Emily's name, the slideshow of images that showcased Emily prominently, with me occasionally lurking in the periphery. "I understand," she murmured softly. It was more intricate than I had anticipated. From my vantage point on the terrace, I observed my parents as they presented Emily to Dr. Irene Chen, the esteemed chief neurosurgeon at Detroit Medical Center, the very place where both Emily and I had submitted our applications for residency. A tightness gripped my stomach. Were they attempting to leverage personal connections to secure a spot for Emily? Dr. Fleming. My father had noticed her and was now making his way over with my mother and Emily following closely behind. "What a privilege it is to have you with us. I hear you've collaborated with Claire. Some work?" Dr. Fleming inquired, raising an eyebrow. "Claire has been my primary research partner for the past 2 years, and her contributions to our traumatic brain injury study have been nothing short of instrumental to its success." My parents shared a glance that eluded my understanding. "How nice," my mother remarked, somewhat ambiguously. "Emily has also been deeply engaged in neurosurgical research. Indeed, Dr. Wu recently expressed her admiration for Emily's application to her program." A wave of indignation surged through me, coloring my cheeks. After all, Emily had not engaged in neurosurgical research. Her concentration lay in neuropsychiatry, a realm distinctly apart. My parents were overtly distorting her qualifications, possibly jeopardizing my own prospects. Dr. Fleming's demeanor stayed amiable, yet I discerned a sharp intensity in her gaze. Is that so? How intriguing. I had thought that Emily's emphasis lay in psychiatric applications rather than surgical interventions. An uncomfortable silence enveloped our small gathering. The confines of my hope tightened around me. This announcement promised to exacerbate the situation, not alleviate it. The dinner segment of the evening had commenced, with my parents positioned at the head table, accompanied by Emily, our grandparents, and Dr. Wu. I found myself seated at a secondary table, surrounded by cousins and family friends, positioned just within earshot of the lively conversation, yet unable to join in. My father was recounting to Dr. Wu how we always believed Emily was destined for greatness. Even in her childhood, Emily exhibited an unwavering determination that set her apart. She has consistently been the one with the most drive. Every word felt like a small blade. I moved my food aimlessly on my plate, my hunger vanished. Nearby, Dr. Fleming sat with fellow faculty members, occasionally meeting my gaze with understanding looks. Once dessert was served, my father rose and tapped his glass to garner attention. Thank you all for gathering to honor our daughter Emily's extraordinary accomplishment. As many are aware, the path through medical school is a challenging odyssey, and to graduate not only with a degree but also free of debt is indeed a remarkable achievement. The audience offered a courteous round of applause. Emily's discomfort grew more palpable. We're blessed to have been able to support Emily throughout her education, my mother said, rising to join my father. We always believed in investing in her future because we knew she would make us proud. I gazed down at my plate, hot tears threatening to spill over. The phrasing was exacting. Their investment was in Emily alone, not in both daughters. The implication was unmistakable. Actually, Emily interjected abruptly, rising to her feet, I'd like to say something. Her gaze locked onto mine, an apologetic look crossing her face. This celebration feels incomplete. Claire and I graduated with the same GPAs, a testament to our shared dedication. Yet, I must acknowledge that Claire's journey was even more remarkable, as she achieved this without the support system that I was fortunate to have. A silence enveloped the gathering. My parents appeared taken aback. Emily, my mother murmured, this isn't the moment, she argued. It's precisely the moment, Emily maintained. I cannot accept acknowledgement that leaves my sister out. It feels unjust. It always has. A wave of emotion constricted my throat. After all these years, Emily finally brought the imbalance into the light. It was a moment that felt both vindicating and heartbreaking. My father, on the other hand, bounced back swiftly, his voice ringing with an exaggerated cheerfulness. Indeed, we take great pride in both our daughters. Claire has also excelled in her endeavors. However, this evening is dedicated to honoring Emily's remarkable accomplishment of being debt-free, a truly significant milestone. An achievement you facilitated, not one I earned, Emily countered, her voice steady yet resolute. The tension in the room hung thick in the air. This was swiftly morphing into the very scene my parents had always dreaded, their flawless family facade fracturing before the eyes of others. Dr. Fleming seized the moment to rise. If I may contribute to this discussion, she stated, her commanding voice slicing through the whispers. This appears to be a fitting moment to reveal some news regarding Claire that might not be known to many of you. My parents exchanged anxious looks. Dr. Fleming announced that Claire's research on neurovascular regeneration has garnered her the Patterson Fellowship at Johns Hopkins. For those who may not know, this represents the pinnacle of achievement for a graduating medical student in the nation. It includes complete loan forgiveness and a generous stipend. A wave of gasps and whispers cascaded through the room. Dr. Wu regarded me with a fresh curiosity. My cousins exchanged eager whispers. Indeed, Dr. Fleming elaborated, the selection committee highlighted Claire's groundbreaking dual approach methodology, which she crafted primarily on her own while managing a demanding clinical rotation schedule. Throughout my journey, I have had the honor of guiding numerous talented physicians, yet few have matched the unwavering commitment and profound understanding that Claire consistently exhibits. The atmosphere was electric as the room burst into applause, authentic, heartfelt applause, directed towards me. Faces turned, smiles spread, and nods of respect filled the space around me. My parents stood still, their faces a tangled web of shock, confusion, and the creeping chill of horror, as the carefully woven tale of their daughters began to unravel before their eyes. Emily radiated joy, her expression devoid of any trace of jealousy. Dr. Fleming had more to say. Furthermore, I am delighted to share that I have taken the initiative to secure funding for the remaining balance of Claire's medical school loans through our department's Merit Scholarship Fund, a resolution that received unanimous approval from the board in acknowledgement of her remarkable contributions to our research program. I, too, was free of debt, having earned that privilege. Following Dr. Fleming's announcement, the atmosphere of celebration transformed significantly. Faculty members who had once been drawn to Emily were now coming to me, inquiring about my research and offering their congratulations on the fellowship. A number of my clinical supervisors recounted glowing anecdotes about my work with patients, stories I hadn't even known they were aware of. My parents stayed at their table, their expressions still reflecting disbelief. They were not merely absorbing the news of my fellowship and loan forgiveness, they were observing the unraveling of the story they had woven about their daughters. The quiet, self-sufficient twin they had persistently disregarded was now the focal point of professional acclaim. Emily approached me, champagne in hand. "Congratulations, sis," she exclaimed, her glass meeting mine with a cheerful clink. "The Patterson Fellowship, that's amazing. Why didn't you mention it?" "I just discovered it this morning," I replied. "And I didn't want to overshadow your celebration," Emily said with a frown. "This ridiculous party was Mom and Dad's idea, not mine." "Of course I did," Emily replied, her expression tinged with hurt. "Claire, I've always sensed that we were treated differently. I wasn't sure how to address it without complicating matters further." Before I could reply, Dr. Margaret Wu came over to us. "Dr. Collins," she said, her gaze fixed on me. "I was quite taken with Dr. Fleming's account of your research. We ought to talk about the possibility of you joining our neurosurgery department rather than heading to Johns Hopkins." I blinked, taken aback. "That's quite flattering, Doctor." "However, she's already accepted the Patterson," Emily chimed in, wrapping her arm around my shoulders with pride. "It's an extraordinary chance, yet I must warn you, my sister has a penchant for tackling multiple groundbreaking endeavors simultaneously. I'd wager she'll embark on another groundbreaking study shortly after her arrival in Baltimore," Dr. Wu remarked with a smile. "And when you've finished the fellowship, don't forget about Detroit. We would be fortunate to have you," she said, nodding toward Emily. "Both of you, in your respective specialties." Once she had departed, I turned to Emily, astonished. "You didn't have to do that. I understand you wished to remain in Detroit for your residency." "And I still can," Emily replied. "Yet, I refuse to allow Mom and Dad to control the narrative or to permit you to forfeit valuable opportunities. That's not who I want to be." I glanced across the room, observing my parents as they finally stood from their table, approaching us with a tentative gait. Their journey was deliberate, frequently disrupted by visitors eager to discuss me, a novel encounter that evidently left them feeling uneasy. "Here they come," Emily murmured. "Are you ready for this?" "Not really," I confessed. "Dr. Fleming certainly had some impressive things to say about you," my father remarked as they finally approached us, his tone artfully balanced to convey pride while concealing his bewilderment. "The Patterson Fellowship, what an esteemed recognition. Why didn't you mention that you were even in the running for such a distinguished opportunity?" my mother inquired, her tone laced with a subtle accusation. "Would it have made a difference?" I inquired softly. "You've made it clear where your support and interest lie." My parents shared uneasy looks. "That's not fair, Claire," my father began. "We've always supported both of you." "Differently," my mother interjected swiftly. "We provided our support in distinct ways, tailored to your unique needs," Emily said, shaking her head. "Mom, Dad, let's hold off on this for tonight, but we will have a genuine conversation about it soon, all together." She shot me a significant glance. "No more pretending." Just then, Dr. Fleming appeared at my side, rescuing me from the need to reply. Claire, the dean wishes to speak with you regarding the possibility of featuring your fellowship in the alumni magazine. She offered a smile to my parents, her demeanor cordial yet her gaze unwavering. You must feel immense pride in having raised two such accomplished daughters, though I can only imagine the satisfaction of witnessing Claire's hard work acknowledged after all she has endured. The focus on overcoming was nuanced yet undeniable. My parents wore their embarrassment like a delicate veil, a subtle acknowledgement of the moment's awkwardness. Well, my mother said softly, we've always known Claire was extraordinary. Insufficient and belated. The week following the celebration proved to be a turning point. The announcement of my Patterson Fellowship reverberated throughout the medical community in Detroit, and in an instant, doors that had once been firmly shut began to swing wide open. Former professors who had granted Emily extensions, yet denied mine, were now reaching out to congratulate me. Classmates who had scarcely recognized my presence throughout 4 years of medical school suddenly professed a deep camaraderie. In the meantime, my parents were engaged in a delicate dance of damage control. They arrived at my apartment the morning after the party, bearing gift bags and wearing strained smiles. We've been contemplating, my father remarked, setting a small box down on my coffee table. As you both prepare to graduate and embark on your professional journeys, it seems only fitting that we celebrate this milestone with a special gift for you girls. We got you this. Inside lay a rose gold watch, a perfect match to the one they had gifted Emily for her birthday half a year prior. It's lovely, I remarked, my hand remaining still, not reaching for it. Though a bit late, my mother flinched. Claire, we understand that there are moments when you might feel unnoticed. However, every action we took was rooted in our belief that you possess the strength to face challenges independently. Emily required additional support. That's an interesting perspective, I responded, maintaining a calm tone. But it fails to clarify why you chose to attend her presentations while bypassing mine. Why you invested in her MCAT prep course yet suggested I rely on free online resources. Why did you cover her living expenses during medical school while suggesting I take out additional loans for mine? We only have so much money, Claire, my father protested. We had to make choices. Indeed, you did, I concurred, and time and again, you chose Emily. Tears welled in my mother's eyes. We love you both equally, she maintained. Perhaps you do, I admitted, but you haven't treated us equally, and watches and belated recognition won't change that. Just then, the phone rang. Dr. Fleming was calling to discuss my impending move to Baltimore. I responded with gratitude, casting my gaze away from the astonished expressions of my parents. Certainly, I'm here to discuss the housing options, I replied into the phone. In fact, your timing is perfect. 3 weeks later, I found myself in my vacant apartment, the final boxes neatly packed and awaiting the arrival of the moving company. Emily perched on the windowsill, her gaze fixed on me as I secured the last container of books with tape. I can hardly wrap my mind around the fact that you're departing next week, she remarked. Detroit won't be the same without you. You'll be too busy with your residency to notice I'm gone, I teased, though there was truth in it. We had been inseparable through medical school, but our paths were finally diverging, mine leading to Johns Hopkins, hers remaining at Detroit Medical. I keep thinking about what Mom and Dad did, Emily said suddenly, or perhaps didn't do, I suppose. For all these years, I believed I was the fortunate one, basking in their attention. Yet, in truth, they were stifling me, fostering a reliance on their validation. I settled beside her on the windowsill. You didn't do anything wrong, Jess. I didn't do enough right either, she countered. I should have spoken up sooner. A sigh escaped her lips. They are utterly heartbroken, you see. Mom can't stop weeping, lamenting how you must despise them. Dad is sharing tales of his remarkable daughter at Johns Hopkins with anyone who will lend an ear, as if he single-handedly financed my research. Let them, I replied, taken aback by how little it affected me in that moment. Their validation no longer shapes my identity. And indeed, it was a reality I embraced. The relentless pursuit of approval from parents who would never fully recognize my worth had finally faded. Under Dr. Fleming's guidance, I discovered the essence of authentic support, being challenged when I required a nudge, defended when I sought refuge, and consistently recognized for my potential without reservation. So what happens now? What do you think? Emily inquired. With us, I mean. I took her hand. We find our own way forward, without the competition they created between us. I'd like that, Emily smiled, squeezing my hand. Dr. Claire Collins Patterson Fellow, I am so proud of you, sis. In that moment, a profound sense of tranquility washed over me, a feeling I hadn't experienced in years. The road ahead, though fraught with challenges, was unmistakably clear, and it was mine to traverse on my own terms.